Hey crafty friends, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to use the Cozy Together stamp and die to create a fun little winter friend card. We're also going to be using the stencil that came from Simon Says Stamp. It is the Winter Flurries layering stencil. We're going to be using that as well. So we are going to be doing some OLO marker coloring. So I've got a piece of Hammermill cardstock. We're going to start off using that. All right, I'm going to start off by stamping our little snowman so that we can let the ink dry a little bit and then color him up. So I'm gonna go ahead and take him off our backer sheet, and then I'll put him in my little Misty, and then I'm gonna stamp him in just some TUXEDO black ink. So we can do our OLO marker coloring. We'll set that to the side for a minute. And let's see, I need a scratch piece of paper. That way we won't have any ink bleed back up. So we're gonna add some color to our little snowman. I'm going to do BG 7.2, which is Silvery Jade. We just want a little bit of color. Anywhere there would be a little shadow. So I'm going to go ahead and do that first. Our little bloom. This set came out right at the 1st of December. And just a little bit of color in our snow here. Then we are going to switch to 7.0, which is Frost Mist. It's the lightest color in this family, or this sequence. I thought it was perfect for little snow. So we'll go ahead and add that. And I will have everything listed below in the video of what I used. We'll go ahead and do our hat next. And I'm going to do this in some red grays. So I'm going to start off with RG7. This is going to be my darkest color. So I'm going to add that where I want it to be the darkest. And then we're going to pick a side for the top and add that in. And I will switch to RG6. It's just a nice little brownish gray. I don't want something like totally stark with the black, so that's why I'm using the red grays instead. Then we'll switch to RG5, which is our medium tone. Blend all that out. And I think the red grays are a little underused. They're especially good if you don't want a lot of to do black. It's a good choice for that. So there's our that. And now we are going to switch to our scarf. So we're going to go with a blue for that. We're going to do B 4.7 as our darkest color. So I'll go ahead and lay that in where I want those blue stripes to be. So I'm going to give this a nice little wintry feel. Add some up here in his little hat, in those little polka dots or checks. Then I will switch to B4.6 as my mid-tone. I've actually got all my markers in the studio now, besides one set. I actually have, since I'm working on redoing or reorganizing, I actually got some marker holders for them. So they're all right in front of me. Besides my OLOs, they're sitting beside me in my coloring cart that you will see whenever I get a chance, get finished, and we'll do the room tour. All right, I just blended that out with 4.3, B4.3. Then for our other stripe, I'm going to do a blue violet. I'm just going to do BV2.2. Just want a subtle color. Then we'll switch over and do 2.0, BV 2.0. And then let's do our little bird. So we're going to have him with a little blue bird. We're going to do B 0.3 and 0.2. So a nice subtle little blue bird sitting on our little branch. And we're going to come back and do his little scarf. And I'm going to go back to my BVs. I'm going to do BV 2.3 and that same 2.2 and 2.0 that we did on our little scarf. I want to keep this nice and cool. All right, we're going to do our broom now. And I want some oranges for that. Y02725, those are my favorite for the broom bottom. So I'm going to start off with that. That was the Y02.7. This is the 2.5. Just to add that nice little warmth in there. And now looking at this, I think I'm going to go back over that blue violet and with this, the yellow, make that pop just a little bit more. For his little nose, I'm just going to do O2.4. And then we've got to finish up our little broom. Give it like a little peppermint stripe. So I'm going to do R2.4. And just every other one. Just to add that in there. Just have that little bit of pop of color. We're going to add that to his little berries up there. We're just going to keep everything kind of simple. Then I'm going to go to my yellow green. I'm going to use YG 8.5 for those. Nice little muted green. I'm not even worrying about blending those out. Let's see, I want to add just a little bit of shadow into our peppermint. So I'm going to use a cool gray and just pop that in there. And we got to do his buttons, so we're going to go back to our gray, or our red gray, our darkest one, which was the 7. That in there. And then we will add a little bit of rosy cheeks. Just with our R0.2 and then the R0.1. And there is my coloring. So I will cut that out with the matching dye in just a second. And we will work on our background panel. All right, so I've got a piece of Hammermill cardstock. And we are going to use our stencil. We're going to start off with our little snowflake stencil here. I'm going to take a little piece of tape. Let me grab some mint tape or Post-it tape. So I'm going to cut this down so I'm not too worried about covering up those. But I'm going to come in with the Sky Positively Saturated ink. And I'll just come right over our little snowflakes. We don't even have to come all the way down because we're going to make a little snow mound up here also. All right, there's that color. I'm going to come in with dusk. I'm going to add just a little darker to some of our snowflake areas. Just kind of pop around. Just a little bit of darkness in some of them. We'll do our next layer. I'll line that up. I'm going to come in right over top with what ink's left on the brush. It's our little snow falling sky. All right, we're going to take and mark off where our ground is going to go. So we want it to come up over that. We'll just take our scissors now and come right along, right slightly underneath our little line that we drew. And then we can go ahead and add a little bit of ink to this. A little bit darker. There we go. Move those out of the way. Then I will cut these down and cut out our little snowman, and I will be right back. All right, I've got my pieces back together. Now we're going to go ahead and pop our snow mound into our Misty, because we are going to add our sentiment on here. I'm just going to pop my sentiment down here in the bottom right corner. And we'll get our VersaFine ink. We'll stamp that. Now in this set, there's also some snowflakes you could stamp if you wanted to. I'm choosing not to do that. I'm going to keep it really simple. So then our panel will go on there. I am going to pop our little snow mount up with some foam adhesive. Let's pop that on. Y'all ready for New Year's? I'm going to ring it in like I always do, asleep. All right, we're going to go ahead and line that up at the bottom. that in place. We'll add our little snowman. We'll add him with some foam dots also. Let's pop on a few of our little, Simon says, stamp foam squares. You can get those backings off. Grab some tweezers. Add a little liquid glue. I can add this to my card front or card base. I'm going to take a black Sakura jelly roll, black Sakura jelly roll pen. I'm going to get that started. I'm going to darken up his little eyes. Add a little bit more to those without doing a lot. And then we're going to add our little white highlights. I'm just going to add those around the hat, on our scarf, little bluebird, a little bit on our broom. We're going to add a little bit more to some of our snowflakes. I'm going to use some raspberry baubles from Trinity Stamps because they're nice and little blue. I'm going to add some to our center of our snowflakes just to add a little bit of sparkle up at the top. They do have a little iridescent quality to them as well. There are 4 different sizes in here. Get those turned over. That's the hardest part, is getting them turned over. I really am trying for the medium ones. I don't really want the largest ones or the small ones. I want to add one more here. We'll add one here. And we'll add a couple at our sentiment. A small one. I'll pop that on. One more. I like having the various sizes around the sentiment. It draws your eye into the sentiment. And we're going to add one finishing touch to our design. And all we're going to do is come around the edge and add some stitching. Just little hash marks. Just going to use our white. You could use silver here. That would be pretty. You could even use the black if you wanted to. I like to keep it really soft and just use the white. That way it ties in the white in our highlights along with the white in the paper. and just gives it that finishing touch that takes your card up just one extra little step. And adds that handmade touch to it. So finish up my stitches. And I don't worry about them being perfectly the same size, anything like that. I just add them where I want them to go and how I want them to look. I don't worry about the fussiness. I mean, it is handmade. If I wanted perfection, I could go and print one off or buy one at the store. And I will hold our card up to the camera, let you get a closer look. If you like this video, you're probably going to like the one coming up right here.